So we're so low tech out here that it's unlikely I'll have a problem. Um, we don't even have cell phones out here. There's no wireless. Anyway, I live southwest of Portage, and I'm in kind of a completely different situation garden-wise because we have acres and acres. But gardeners everywhere in Manitoba have all the same problems and all the same positives. So just look at what I'm doing and scale it down so that you can use the information I'm offering. And anyway, I've been here for 10 years, and so the garden is quite well established now. And I'll begin my slideshow right now. So I'll just share my screen. There we go. Okay, just got to get. Okay, so this first slide is the first slide is looking at the west end of our garden. Our garden is almost 200 feet long and 22 feet across. And the greenhouse is pretty big. It's 48 feet by 22 across, and it moves. And that's the thing I wanted to show you today is the greenhouse and the advantages of a mobile greenhouse. It has 4 positions. The one to the right now is in brassicas, and you can actually see the shadows of the broccoli. There's cauliflower and cabbage in that row as well under the row cover, but the broccoli is. Then to the left in the beds you can't see, there's one bed of green manure, and I use berseem clover, and I found it very effective. And then the next bed is in beans and corn. So, and this can all be scaled down, and I can see that Laura's like the opposite end of the scale, and that's great. Anyway, a summer greenhouse gives you advantages. It gives you a 2 to 3 week extension on either end of the growing season, which in Manitoba means cucumbers and squash and melons and the Solanaceae and cucurbitae family much earlier and much later. So and I also grow herbs inside my greenhouse, as you'll see in a minute. They seem to just love it. It kind of like this. It kind of shades them a little bit, and that tends to give you a West Coast California climate, and it really enjoys it. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the next slide. So here's a picture of the roll-up sides. Now, the thing about a summer greenhouse is you have to have lots of cross ventilation. And although we've got mechanical roll-up sides, you can do any kind of manual arrangement to roll up the plastic. This plastic is actually from what's that company? It's featured in the TNT website. They sell this plastic, and it doesn't rip or tear. It's actually amazing. This has been on for 10 years, and it's still going strong. So I should have that handy. I'll look it up and get that information for you. So we have lots of ventilation. Both sides open up, and we have upper louvers as well. And that means that the greenhouse does not overheat, but we still have the protection, which is very important, of course, in those 2 to 3 weeks at the either end of the season. Note the skirt at the bottom. Can you see my little arrow? Someone nod. Can you see that arrow? Yeah, this skirt, this is essential around where we live. And I'm sure where you have squirrels, I'm sure, but we have ground squirrels. Now, they're very cute, 13-striped ground squirrels, but they love to get into the greenhouse and basically mow the plants down when they're young. So the skirt is essential. They won't climb, these ground squirrels. So, and it's held down with metal fence posts, old metal fence posts, and there's tons of those out in the country, from of course cattle fencing. But you could use anything to hold a skirt down. And of course we got tremendous wind too, so we got concrete blocks as well to keep the whole thing from blowing away. Although you can see it's tied down. Yeah, I think you can see the tie down that's in behind an image I've got. Are you seeing this image? Pictures of me? No.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I want to get rid of that.
Why?
Hang on a sec. Oh, no, but you don't see it down the middle of the frame. Can you see my whole photograph?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. It's not what I'm seeing. All right. Okay, so this is the roller, showing the roller and the rails. And moving the greenhouse is a huge advantage because you get to rotate your crop. And you could even do this on a small scale. If you had like an 8 by 8 foot by 8 foot greenhouse, and you could move it to one or two other positions. And then you could rotate your crops somewhat, and you could also practice better organic pest control. And I find that the birds come in, when you have open sides, the birds come in and they actually, even when I'm gardening in there, the swallows will come in, and so will the sparrows, and hunt around for things. Okay. So we move our greenhouse using our little Kubota tractor. As you can imagine, a greenhouse of this size. But these rails are actually, the moving is very easy, and a small greenhouse, say 8 by 8, could easily be moved by hand by a couple of people. This one was ordered. This greenhouse we ordered complete from Rimmel, greenhouses in the States, and it was actually a nightmare getting it. It's 10 years old. It's a wonderful greenhouse, but their packaging was terrible. But any greenhouse can be adapted to rollers. And have a look at the advantages. Now, something I did differently this year was I used larger pots. I used a 3.5-inch square geranium pot for all of the items that were going to be transplanted into the greenhouse. And I started them very early. And this made a tremendous difference to their growth. Now this is the zucchini. And I seeded all the zucchini and the cucumbers and the melons and squash on April 5th. And everything went out on May 3rd and 4th. I did all the transplanting into the greenhouse on May 3rd and 4th under row cover, so that I didn't have to do any hardening off. Row cover is ideal for that. You just put your transplants out and cover them with row cover, and they don't require hardening off. So, and this is the state of my Romas. This is my own seed. This is my seed. I've been growing this seed for 10 years, and it's well adapted to Manitoba, and tremendously productive. And I use it for making ketchup and tomato paste and tomato sauce and all of the good things, good Italian things. And of course, I'm just growing this in hoops because of the variety. Then here's the state of the eggplants that were planted that early. The eggplants and the tomatoes were started on March 8th. Just so you know, March 8th, which is pretty early. And again, out May 3rd. And I grow two types of eggplant. I grow a Japanese and a Black Beauty heritage variety. And then here we have the muskmelons, and I'm so pleased to have a muskmelon of this size already. It's quite amazing. And then the peppers are already setting peppers, a couple of inches long. This variety is King of the North. I grow two heritage varieties, King of the North and Orange King, both of which are extremely productive and very fast coming on. As you can see, look, it's very dry. I haven't put my irrigation in. Normally it goes in July 1st, but I'm thinking it's going to go in a couple of days early because it's so dry. And now you're going to be shocked at this. I actually grow my potatoes in a 48-foot row in the greenhouse. And the reason for that is late blight. And I don't know if you get that in Winnipeg, but out here we get late blight. And it's something I got familiar with when I lived on the coast, because late blight there is, you get it every year, always. So we don't get late blight on any of that family, the tomatoes or the potatoes or eggplants, by keeping them under cover. It comes in on the rain. So here's the first hilling. And another tip is hill your potatoes, but once after the first hilling, put grass clipping mulch on, and this will keep the potato beetles away. So this is about to get its grass clippings. Will is supposed to be cutting the grass today, and he will get grass clippings for me. And then this is a watermelon, and again, I'm just thrilled with this is the earliest I've ever had these melons. I'm very pleased. The watermelon I grow is Sugar Baby, and it's a heritage variety. And I also grow my own seed. This seed is about 6 years old, like 6 years in. And I think that it's becoming earlier and earlier as it adapts to our climate. Now, here's something that you wouldn't have thought of. I grow celery in the greenhouse, and it just loves it. Celery is grown on the west coast in foggy areas, because celery likes diffuse light. And guess what? That's what you get in the greenhouse. So, but it doesn't like to have hot roots, and that's why it's under mulch. So I get the most fantastic celery grown in the greenhouse. And the tomatoes are coming on fast and furious. This variety is Early Cascade, and I'm afraid it's a hybrid, and it's also the end of the road for Early Cascade. This seed I've had for quite a long time, and the seed is barely viable, and you can't get it anymore, unfortunately. But I'm growing a variety called Bonnie Best. It's a heritage variety, and it's looking very much like this, and I'm very hopeful. I train, these are I have to train these. And I train 3 stalks, 6 inches apart for each plant. And there you can see the tomatoes getting trained. Now there's my arrow. I'm pointing at the okay, there's the Early Cascades, and these are the Bonnie Best, and this is another heritage variety, and I'm having a moment. Brandywine, and I grow those simply because I just love the taste of them. They're kind of a nuisance to grow because they seem to be quite uncontrollable. And they don't store at all, but man, are they good. Okay, so now if that's too much, you can grow under in a tunnel. You can grow in a tunnel, and you can see earlier that I grow my brassicas outside in under row cover tunnels. And I'm going to show you the construction of a tunnel here. So we start with you need hoops. And you'll need 2 hoops to do a 5 to 6 foot tunnel. And the hoops are made of 3/4 inch PVC conduit. You can buy it in 10-foot lengths at say Home Depot, but not just Home Depot, but 10-foot lengths, cut them in half. And that will make a hoop that will span a 3-foot bed. And you need spikes, also available at Home Depot, 12-inch spikes, barn spikes. And you'll need 4 of those, 1 for either end of the hoop. And you drive those in 3 feet on either side of the 3-foot bed, leaving about 1 inch out. And then you put the ends of the hoops over the spikes and bend them. Don't be afraid. They don't look like they're going to bend that much, but they do. And it makes a lovely, very, very firm hoop. And this hoop system has withstood my garden, which is in the middle of a field. And you can just imagine what the wind gets like sometimes. So then apply the row cover. And be very careful when you buy row cover, because it comes in several different thicknesses. The thinnest will tear too easily, but the next up, which is mostly what you can buy in small amounts, is pretty good. But if you buy too thick, if you think you're doing yourself a favor and it won't rip, well, what you're going to get is overheating, and that's completely undesirable. Anyway, so it's secured at the end by a standard garden hold down, and I'll show you afterwards what that looks like. Then I secure the sides using old garden stakes, old fence posts, whatever's available, something heavy. And of course, with the wind, concrete blocks everywhere here, holding everything down so it doesn't blow into the neighbor's field. And there you have the completed tunnel. And this particular tunnel, I'm going to be planting to a fall crop of radishes, turnips, kohlrabi, and pak choi, all of which will mature nicely by the fall, and but have to be protected. These row covers are absolutely essential in Manitoba for growing any of that family. You cannot grow those things out without a cover. I found anyway. The flea beetles are just absolutely insane out here, and so are the butterflies, the ones that give us those lovely little green worms. To say nothing of the little worms that go into the radishes and turnips. But you'll get lovely things under this row cover. The brassica family really enjoys growing under row cover. And yay, this was my pick this week. I got 2 zucchinis, a couple of English cucumbers, a couple of regular cucumbers, and some picklers. And these are the first of the year, and it's the earliest I've ever managed in Manitoba, so I'm very pleased. Maybe Winnipeg's a little better than this, but for me, this is good. So there you go. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, so just a couple of illustrations. This is the pot that I used to get much better transplants. You get 3.5 inches and deep. I think they call them geranium pots. And I ordered them en masse from Amazon, oddly enough. This is a barn spike, and 12 inches long, very heavy duty. I find that I drive it with my foot. I just put it in as far as I can and then push it with my foot. If that doesn't work for you, you can always get out a hammer. And then this is the hold down I was talking about. It's just a standard garden hold down. I think I've bought them from Lee Valley, and I've bought them from TNT. They're widely available. And those of you who aren't in the construction business may not know what tuck tape is. You probably noticed the little red speckles on my row covers. Well, those are patches. You cannot have a hole, not even the smallest hole. You can't have a hole, any access for those little flea beetles. So I watch for holes and patch them, and I found tuck tape, which is the tape used for taping up insulation and house wrap, which you get at like Home Depot. This is like the stickiest tape in the world, and a lot of fun to put on.